What up, world? Hope you're having a great morning. We are here in studio. This is Wake Up Barstool. And right now, it is my distinct pleasure to be joined by one of my favorite people on earth. That is LSU and baseball legend, big leaguer, number one overall pick, Ben McDonald. He's got the Tigers gear on right now. Ben, what's up, brother? How we doing this morning?
Good morning, man. I'm doing good. We got a game 3, as you guys know, in Chicago at a little after 4 o'clock local time. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, so for those that don't know, Ben's been on the call. He does Orioles, he does LSU. It's fantastic. Been on the call for this Cubs series. And Ben, I think we got to start with Mason Miller then, yesterday. Because my favorite part about listening to games that you call is your insight into pitching strategy, decisions, the feelings of being on the mound. So give us your perspective on what was one of the most unhittable runs of pitches, maybe the most that we've ever seen.
Yeah, I don't know if I've ever seen anything like that, T. I mean, you go back to Mason Miller's final, 3 batters he faced in the regular season, combine it what he's done in the first 2 games. I think he struck out 11 guys in a row. And you just don't see stuff like this. And when you talk about the velocity he throws with, I mean, his fastball has averaged nearly 103 miles per hour in this series. And it's something. And here's the crazy thing. I said this on the air yesterday. As much as we talk about the fastball, it's kind of dumb to say because he throws it at 103, 104 miles an hour. But the slider may be the better pitch than the fastball, which is just crazy to say. But, yeah, I don't know if we've ever seen anything like this before. But, look, this is the strength of the Padres. Their starting pitchers are pretty good, but it is the best bullpen in baseball, and that's how they do it in the playoffs. They shorten the game a little bit. They start bringing in those elite relievers like Mason Miller and others that they have, Robert Suarez, Morahone, and others, and they are really good. Now, what favors the Cubs today is I don't know that Mason Miller's going to be available today because he's pitched in back-to-back days. It's very rare that you run relievers out there 3 days in a row. And if you look at the Padres, they got a couple guys that have thrown in back-to-back days, so you wonder if their bullpen's going to be a little bit short today. So I think that does favor the Cubs in a lot of ways.
Yeah, Ben, by the way, big fan, grew up watching you on the Orioles.
Thank you.
A big admirer of your pitching. I was thinking about Mason Miller earlier today, and the 104 mile an hour, 103 mile an hour fastballs. Do you think that the radar guns are different these days than they were back in the 90s? Or are these guys that much stronger?
No, the guns are absolutely different. I'll tell you what's different about them. In my time going back, and even before that, the radar gun used to pick the ball up crossing home plate. And then we got to the jugs gun in my time where it picked the ball up about halfway towards home plate. Mm-hmm. And as the ball, of course, comes out of the hand, it starts to lose velocity. Now the guns today, and in the last 7 or 8, 10 years, picking the ball up right out of the hand. So velo, yes, is up. There's no doubt. These guys, and look, it's in every sport. The guys are getting bigger, stronger, and faster in every sport. And they are throwing certainly harder than, say, 20 or 30 years ago. Now, they're not throwing 8 miles an hour harder on average, but I do think fastball velocity is up. The average big league fastball is a little over 94 miles an hour. In my time, the average fastball was 88 miles an hour.
Damn.
You do the gun difference, it's probably about 2 or 3 miles per hour difference. So, yeah, that's where we are. I mean, the average left-hander throws at 93. The average right-hander is throwing at about 95 in the big leagues. So the average overall is right at 94.
Hey, Ben, Big T, which of these teams, obviously I know you've been watching the Cubs series most intently, but which of these teams in the wild card series would you not want to see the most if you're one of the teams that has a bye? And then just second part, how excited are you for opening night of the NHL coming up next week?
Well, I mean, I look at the Cubs, and I thought coming in that the Cubs would win this series. I look at the Cubs, and I see a complete team. I see a top 5 offense in all of baseball. I see a team that's an elite defending team that's top 5 in defending, a really good bullpen, and enough starters to get by. And so I see a team that can beat you a lot of different ways. You talk about stolen bases. The Cubs can do that. They're top 5 in that category as well. And so it's more of a complete team to me. Nothing against San Diego, but their offense was really pretty average this year, 18th overall. They can pitch it, and that's the strength of it. But I look at the Cubs and I say, okay, they're very athletic. They can beat you a little different ways. And so I felt like the Cubs would take this series, but it comes down to a game 3, which I don't think is a surprise at all. As far as the hockey stuff goes, man, listen, when that thing popped up on the screen, I'll be honest, I didn't even know ESPN had the hockey contract. I know they probably paid up more than $1 or $2 for it, but I just didn't even know that, to be honest. And then when I looked at the dates, and I went, well, that's kind of the same time as playoff baseball. And if I got a choice between preseason or beginning of hockey season and October baseball, I'm probably leaning slightly towards playoff baseball, to be honest with you.
Well,
Fair
it
enough.
makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ben, I want to ask you about Pete Crow Armstrong. I'm a Cubs fan. PCA was at the All-Star break, probably, and maybe you could disagree here, but I would say he was like the top contender to
Yes.
win MVP over Shohei Ohtani in the National League. He was that good. He burst onto the scene. Had a terrible second half of the season. Now, I'm noticing when he's at the plate, he's just guessing on every pitch. And I noticed this going to the last two games. The crowd will, the Cubs fans can sense that PCA is struggling, so they start chanting PCA, try to get him going a little bit. It actually backfires because then he gets really confident and like he thinks he's got to hit a home run and he swings at everything. PCA is in a mental torture chamber. I, as a fan, am also in a mental torture chamber. How do we fix this? How do you fix a guy who has the talent but is so mentally broken? But then, like, when the fans try to encourage him, it almost like backfires because then he's like, oh, yeah, I do need to hit a home run here. And he swings at pitches in the dirt. It's very confusing. It's very frustrating. I don't know what to do, Ben.
I totally agree with you. When the Orioles came in and played the Cubs back right around the trade deadline, PCA and right around the first half, you're right. I mean, he was in the conversation to be the MVP. When you look at him, there's nothing he can't do on a baseball field. We always throw around five-tool player all the time, but I mean, the real 5-tool players out there. He could beat you so many different ways with the defense, with the arm. He could hit the ball in the ballpark. Has he been scuffed in the second half? Yeah. But what I always take my mind back to is the kid's 23 years old. He's 23 years old. And he's playing on this level right here. And yes, we look at what he did in the first half. He was an all-star and arguably one of the best players in the game. The game's caught up to him in some ways. And I do think, look, you guys have been to Wrigley a lot, and it is a special place. It is. And the crowd gets to roaring, man, and it gets your heart beat up as a young player, and you want to do more. You want to do more. And right now, what I see out of Pete Crow is he's just expanding the zone a little bit too much. He's not selective at the plate. And as a pitcher, look, if I can get you out without throwing a strike, that's what I'm going to do, right? Early in the year, Pete Crow Armstrong was still very aggressive, but he was attacking ball over the plate. Now he's attacking just about anything. I feel like when he leaves the dugout, he starts to swing right now. But he's the guy that you got to plug in, you got to put in the lineup because he's a difference maker. And when I say a difference maker, he can win you a ball game with his legs. He can win you a ball game with his defense, with his arms as well. And if you're the Cubs fan, hopefully he'll start to get some big base hits and find his way on base today. But look, he's going through a tough time. There's no doubt. And look, runs have been hard to come by in this series. You look at, we played 2 games. Well, we got a total of 7 runs on the scoreboard total. I mean, that's it. I mean, runs are really hard to come by in this one. So it feels like it's going to come down to hitting with runners in scoring position. One big hit, one play made, one pitch made or not made. That's what's going to separate this game tonight.
Ben, we were talking earlier about how fun it is still to hate the Yankees, even though they've kind of fallen into what the Red Sox used to be. A little small example of that, not a lot of recent success. But I realized in this break that I think my Yankees hatred started in the Orioles-Yankees ALCS with Jeffrey Mayer, where he robbed that home run. What was your perspective on that when that happened?
Yeah, I remember sitting at home watching that play, and look, if you go back, of course, I've worked with Jim Palmer. Y'all know Jim Palmer, and he tells me all the Oriole Yankee history and the rivalry of all that. So, and of course, New York is so close to Baltimore, and that's the team that everybody always wants to beat, is the Yankees. And the reason why is they got more world championships than anybody do, and of course they spend a lot of money and they got one of the top payrolls in baseball every year. And so it's easy. The Yankees are kind of team, kind of like the Cowboys, right? You're going to either really like them or you really don't like them, one or the other, And I honestly, looking at the Yankees, because I saw them at the end of the year this past year, I really felt like they had a chance to make a serious run in this thing. I think they're a different kind of team too. It's the number 1 offense in baseball. They can really, really play. But the Boston Red Sox have given the Yankees fits this year. And, of course, they won game 1. The Yankees fought back, yesterday and won game 2. And so they got a game 3 as well. But I don't think it's a big surprise what's going on in New York right now because the Boston Red Sox have certainly had the Yankees number for sure.
Ben, do you have a read on tonight's games between, obviously, Yankees, Red Sox, and then Cubs? What are you thinking?
I really like the Cubs tonight. I think Jameson Taillon, who is starting for the Cubs, has been really good. He spent some time on the IL, but you go back and look at his last 6 starts, man, he has been really, really hot. The Padres are going to run Hugh Darvish out there, who is obviously a little bit older, played 3 years here in Chicago for the Cubs, has been a wonderful pitcher, but he's been nicked up a lot this year. And when he has pitched, it's not been the typical Hugh Darvish at the age that he's at right now. So you got to lean on the Cubs tonight, starting pitching wise. But again, we're to the time of the season now where as soon as the starter begins to get in a little bit of trouble, teams are going to the bullpen. And back to the bullpen situation, I feel like the Cubs bullpen is in a little bit better shape than what the Padres bullpen is in.
And the Guardians and Tigers, what's your read on that?
Yeah, I mean, look, we know about the Tigers and the Guardians were, 15 and a half games out. No chance of making the playoffs. I think going into September, Fangraphs had the Guardians with about a 2% chance of making the playoffs. They make this incredible run. And what was weird about this year was the Tigers, if you guys remember last year, that made this incredible run the final 6 weeks of the season to get into postseason play. It was the Guardians that did it to the Tigers this year in this one. And again, a ballpark that's can be tough to score some runs in. And this is what we see in October baseball, playoff baseball. Runs are hard to come by. I can't get a feel for who's going to take game 3 of that series at all. It just feels like as good as Cleveland has been, as hot as they've been as of late, I think they probably win that series.
Ben, we were talking off air. How many, you said you called about 140 baseball games this year? Today's going to be the last one, off season around the corner. What are we looking forward to?
Man, to T-Bob, look, I woke up yesterday morning was October 1st, and that's the opening day of bow season in the state of Mississippi where I hunt. And I woke up and my trigger finger was itching a little bit. And that's how I knew it was bow season. And that's how I knew it was time to do something else. So I'm going to enjoy this final game today, and I'm going to ride my tail off into the sunset, and I'm going to go hide in the woods for about 3 or 4 months until we get to do it all over again.
There we go.
Hell yeah, Ben. You're the absolute man. Go Tigers, national champs. Hey, tell Lynn Rollins I said I love him, and I miss him next time you see him. But have a great call today, man, and thank you so much for waking up with us.
Hey, I always love hopping on with you guys. You guys take care.
Thanks,
Yes,
Ben.
sir.
See you, Ben.
Good to talk to you,
Ben
man.
McDonald, the guy just oozes charisma.
Love that guy.
The only thing I'm upset
Great
about.
flat top.
That's what I was saying. The only thing I'm upset
Yeah.
about is that he put on his hat
Put on a
because
hat.
there's just not a better flat top in all of sports media. I think in all of media, actually.
Yeah, I would say
be fair.
just in sports in general, best flat tops, Ben McDonald, Chris Mullin.
Yep. There you go. That's the list.
I mean, Chris Mullin looked like a cop.
God,
Still does.
what a pure shot.
Wow, it's been a while since we had a flat top, huh?
It has.
Yeah.
We need a more.
We need
we
a-
need a new flat top
yeah.
guy.
Ben Sutton was a pretty good college baseball player, and he rocked the flat top as well.
Zion would look good with a flat top.
Oh, yeah. Old school, like house party type flat top?
Yeah.
Hell yeah,
Yeah.
dude.